Hello, welcome to this video inside of the Analytics Intermediate capsule. We are going to be reviewing one of my favorite topics today called report filters. It's not the same as adding a filter to a widget inside of a report. It's actually adding a filter on a much bigger scale and it's much more dynamic. So let's talk a bit about why you would want to use it. What report filters are they are a powerful tool that lets you report on data and switch between many levels on the fly. In a nutshell, they allow you to create and add filters to multiple widgets and then all at once just apply a filter to the widgets to change up how you're viewing the data. You would want to use one if you need to see different periods of time in a quick manner, maybe swapping between different staff members, stakeholder data, engagement plans. You can do that all in the fly here and watch very quickly. As an example, I have a date filter set up to the previous quarter. I could quickly just swap to the previous year, and you can see the number is adjusted now. The charts all changed. The data is showing all of my user actions for the previous year. I can even just swap and say, show me the previous month. And now I've generated a report on my last month of user actions. So that's just a really good example of how dynamic they are. Let's get into setting them up. How we add report filters to our reports is very simple. We could just hit the edit button here at the top and it will open up this bar at the very, very top of your report. And this is where we could start adding some of these filters. So we could hit add, and we actually have a whole list here of some. We can get very specific, maybe just wanting to look at the individual specific data related to them or the engagement plan. These would just be like, oh, select the engagement plan, and I can see what's inside of it and all the data related to it. But we want to use some dynamic filters in this case. Maybe date would be a really good one. And you'll see once I add it to the top, it lets me configure what I want to look at. So maybe I want to look at data that resides for this current period of this year. So anything from January 2023 to December 31st, 2023, when this video was filmed. um, so now what I have the option to do is I can then see my list of widgets here, the sections that they're pulling from, and I can start linking this date filter to one of the date type data fields available inside these forms. So for the activities, for example, I can go here and I can see the creation date of the activity, saying I want to see this year what activities have happened at Borealis. We could do the same thing for communications, saying I want to look at communications that happened this year or were created this year. We'll pick created, and we could do the same thing for communications created by. Maybe in this case, for this one, we want to look at the creation date, but maybe counting the communications is better to look at when they actually happened using the date and time field. And then finally, for individuals, we could even select a few date options for them. Maybe we want to look at the creation date as well, just seeing what was created inside of Borealis this year. And it's as simple as that. We just hit save, and it will apply this to all of our filters. So as you can see, there was actually only 326 communications that happened this year. These were the individuals that were created this year in the different categorizations. Those numbers have shrunk. And you can even see the activity data for this year has shrunk as well. It's only looking between January to December 2023 instead of previously looking all the way back to 2020. And the same thing here, it's adjusting the communications created by user, only looking at what was created this year. If I only want to look maybe at a monthly basis, I could change this filter. If I'm just a viewer of this report, I could go ahead and say, well, maybe I want to look at a month, like this month. So I could say the current period of this month. Only two communications were happened this month, and this was the individuals created this month. And these were the actions or communications done by the users this month. So you see it's very dynamic, easily adjustable. I can always click on it, go right back to the original value as well. Let's set up one more for good practice. Maybe we'll do a dynamic filter related to the person viewing this report, and that will pretty much wrap it up for today. Let's hit edit again. Let's add in another filter. We're going to go with the user filter here in administration. Now, you see we have the activities by user. We can link this to the creation user, or actually the user that did the activity. So we could pick one of these. We could then say for the communication, we want to see who the creation user was. We could also look, for example, at the staff member data. And we could then say, well, who was the staff members in the communication? But in this case, we're sticking to some user data here, and we just want to simply look at some creation data, like who's the creation user of the activities, who's the creation user of the communications. We could actually apply this to all if we need to, like that, and you see it just automatically drags it down. Really helpful when you have a lot of widgets. And then finally, we just want to look at the creation user of the individuals and hit save. This is great and all, but I would need to adjust to view the different users. Maybe I want to go in and re-edit this and say I actually want this report to reflect the data of the current user that's viewing it. I can do that as well. I can edit previously completed filters just by clicking on them. And I could change the default value here to look at the current user viewing this report. So when I hit save, so you could see the number of communications I created right here. I only have one this month that I created. You can even see some of the records that I created here. You can see it's just me, and you can even look at the user actions that I've undertaken as well. This is all specific to me because I've set up this dynamic filter to only look at the current user viewing this report. I could adjust it to different users. Like I could say, oh, what has Louis created this year? And he's done 308 communications that aren't emails, and you can see he's created 362 English speaking individuals. We can look at their category by so you can see here that when I adjust the value from current user to maybe a different user like Louis, you'll get his data for the year. He actually has 308 communications, and he had 362 individuals created this year. And you can even see the total number of communications that Louis created this year as well. So also another dynamic filter that's available to you. Thank you very much for tuning into this capsule today. I hope you learned something new. And as always, I hope you have a great day. Hope you take it easy, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.